Hello everybody, I am Fuzzy Face. Welcome back to another edition of this Motorsport Manager career. We're back with Audi Sport Formula 1 team. Project Audi, as I like to call it. We're back today with the Russian Grand Prix Round 4 here, Black Sea. It's the first of two races that we're actually doing at Black Sea. I didn't actually notice this when I was going through and making the mod, but we do have another race in Russia towards the end of the season. It is on a slightly different track. We cut out, instead of this one sort of massive sweeping corner that we've got here today, it does incorporate this. Today we've got track layout B, which is a nice sweep, high speed, possibly, yeah, top speed crucial here, the rear wing crucial, and the suspension crucial as well. So let's jump into things here. Sebastian Vettel is over his fever. He goes back into the car, and Stoffel Van Dorn has taken over from Pascal Wehrlein. If we just head over to the mail, we do have a politics vote that we're going to go through in a second, but Van Dorn is refocusing his life on racing, which gives him the refocus boost, which gives him a +1 pretty much to every stat, which has now made him a 4.5 star driver. And with him now being a 4.5 star driver and having Vettel in the car, that does give us the boost of having one of the best driver lineups in the game. It does actually just put us behind the Mercedes team. Oh, not just behind, quite a way behind the team of Lewis and Max in that Mercedes, but it does put us ahead of Alonso and Albon and Leclerc and Hulkenberg. So we might be alright for this race. If we just now head down, I'll just grab my notebook here and we'll go down the updates that all the cars have got. We have made a big improvement to our gearbox. We've managed to get the new gearbox in the car, managed to upgrade that gearbox. We are also building a new gearbox. It's 22 days away. It is not going to be ready for the next race in Tondela in Portugal, but we do have it ready for Cape Town. Possibly going to be looking at upgrading the engine. I'm not too bothered about the rear wing. The rear wing is not a massive boost in this game. The rear wing is one of the last things you sort of start to need to upgrade. The high corners in this game aren't rated as highly as every other stat, so rear wing could be left for a while. I do want to concentrate on the engine. So 22 days, another 34 days after that for the engine would be 56 days. So our next upgrade would be there for Munich. It is a long way before the German Grand Prix, but if we get the engine upgraded for there, we might have a good chance once we do get to Germany of getting a decent result there. Obviously, being a German team, having Vettel in the car, that would be one of the races we want to concentrate on. Just looks like there's going to be no rain, although it said no rain for China. But anyway, we'll just run through the other teams here. If we start off with Mercedes. Mercedes have put a new engine in their car. They're still a long way off the top. 4th best car rated overall, obviously with the best driver lineup. They're still a long way off the top. McLaren have put a new suspension in the car. They're not actually that far off the Mercedes. McLaren do have a pretty decent car here. We're actually skipping through the wrong way, aren't we? Because we should start off with Ferrari. Since they're leading the championship, it does, instead of being sort of in order of how the game puts them in order at the start of the game, or being in alphabetical order, it does put them in constructors standing order. So let's go back in and we'll go with Ferrari, who have not upgraded their car between the last race and this race. No new parts for them, but they do still have the best car overall. Red Bull Honda have put a new front wing on the car, still a long way behind. Are they the second best rated car? No, the Renault's a bit better than them. It is quite a way off the Ferrari still. Mercedes we've been through, McLaren we've been through, Renault, look at that, their car is pretty much there with the Ferrari, but they are performing poorly this season. Esteban Ocon still has a dodgy neck. They have improved their engine, which was quite a considerable upgrade to their engine. I think it might be better than the Ferrari, or I won't look at it, leave it as a surprise to see how this Renault does. But Renault could be in for a good race here at Black Sea. Engine is a massive boost around this track, so hopefully Renault are going to improve. Audi, we've gone over our gearbox already. Haas, meanwhile, if I look through this, the suspension, a new suspension, is still quite a way off compared to our car. They're actually doing pretty well to be in 6th place here, or 7th place. We're actually in 6th place. Then we've got the Aston Martin, who have dropped below us in the order. They did have a better car than us before the last race. This race we have a better car than them. Aston Martin have not made any improvements to their car this time around. Alfa Romeo, no improvements for them either. Prema have made a big leap across all parts of their car. They've managed to improve the performance of a lot of their parts. They have introduced a new suspension as well, so it does put them in sort of the same range as the Alphas at the moment. So Mick and Robert could be in for an improved race here. in that Ferrari powered Prema. Williams 11th, even though they've got a better car this season, even though Kevin Magnussen was on the front row of the grid in the last race, still underperforming here. 11th place in the series. Their car is pretty good. Right, I'm back. Just had to take a phone call. Where was I? I'm with Williams at the moment. So, Williams, Kevin Magnussen was second on the grid last time out. Didn't have a good race after that point. Finished way down the order. Williams currently 11th. They've got a new suspension going in the car. They've got a pretty decent car, 8th overall. It's not that far behind us. It's not far behind the Aston Martin, but obviously just not performing this season and finding themselves at the back of the grid. And then we finish off with AlphaTauri. Their car is way behind. It's actually not that far behind, but it's rated that far behind. Vips and Gasly not doing too badly this season, saying the car is not that good overall. They've got, what have they got? They've actually got no new upgrades going into the car this time, so AlphaTauri might be a little bit further behind than usual here. Not looking good for the Red Bull. Let's just call them a junior team. It is pretty much a Red Bull junior team. Auxiliary team. Feeder team. Which we've got a few of in this season. So we're just going to jump in. We do have a politics vote, which is for the removal of Munich. I do usually abstain and go with what the computer goes with, but I don't want to lose any races. Looks like pretty much everyone's voting against it here, so let's continue. Let's skip and conclude that. And there. No. Concluded. So the German Grand Prix is getting removed next season. Oh, I actually voted for it. What did I do? Did that totally wrong. Oh no. Whoops. Whoopsie daisy. Anyway, I'm going to change that in the editor. I don't want to lose the German Grand Prix. Why would we lose the German Grand Prix? At some point I'm going to go and just erase that rule change. Don't want that to happen. I don't want to lose the German Grand Prix. So we're just going to go against that. We're going to go against the will of the FIA here. We're not losing Germany. Hopefully I can reverse that decision. But as it is, we're getting into this. We've got Audi. What are we on? 57 laps for this race. So we do need to take quite a few hard tyres. So we'll go across the board 744. As we usually do. That gives us enough of the softest tyre compound for the weekend to get through practice and qualifying. Yeah, so hopefully we can do pretty good here. So as usual, we'll be skipping over practice and we'll be back in a second to go through qualifying. So practice is done. We're about to head into qualifying here in Russia. We looked pretty handy during practice. We've got the performance increases for the soft and the qualifying trims, which is what we're obviously going to go here for qualifying. Pretty spot on with Stoffel Van Dorn's setup. We just need to swap back to this setup here with Sebastian Vettel. That's our best one that we managed to get over the practice session. Going to have 2 runs here in qualifying that we're going to get to go at it. Who's going to be quickest? I think it's going to be Ferrari. Obviously we've got this massively long, almost straight, 2 tiny bends in it. Should we try and get out ahead of the pack here? See if we can get a bit of clean running, get Van Dorn out there ahead of one of the Ferraris. And let's try find a little gap here for Vettel. If we go now, it looks like we've got a Haas in front. If we get out of the pits just behind this Haas, is it? Or has someone else come out in front of us? Is that another Ferrari in front of us? As it is, we're out of the pits. Both cars should have a little bit of clear air. Van Dorn, obviously the track grip's not going to be there much for him on his first run, but maybe clear air is he's going to be under pressure. Is that Hulkenberg or is that Leclerc behind him? It's Hulkenberg right behind him. So maybe Hulkenberg's going to pressure him down this really strong getaway. Usually the cars that are not on a fast lap, they usually go, so they don't usually make a difference to a lap. When this first game first came out, that was the case, but they usually just ghost out of the way. It's usually only cars that are on a hot lap like you which can get in the way, which means we're possibly slowing Hulkenberg down here over the course of this first lap if we just speed up and watch these cars go around. Van Dorn currently back of the grid, although he's quicker than Perez in the Aston Martin. Vettel goes 5th, half a second quicker than his teammates. So obviously that is a big help to us in having Vettel back in the car. Van Dorn didn't do too well in the last race. We didn't do too well there. But Vettel, no, Van Dorn in his race before that finished 5th. He is our only point scorer this season. So we're hoping that we can get more points on the board with Vettel here. We're just going to skip ahead a little bit back towards the end of the session. A lot of the cars have done their second run. Van Dorn has slipped down to 23rd. We're going to get him out of the pits right about now. Hopefully he can have some clear air. There's a little bit of grip on the track. We're just going to leave Vettel a while longer, or should we let Vettel go earlier as well? We're sort of waiting for the other bigger teams to come back out until we send Vettel back out of the garage. Just try to switch the camera back to Vettel here proper. When are we going to go? Obviously, it's only a minute around this track. Should we go with 2 minutes to go? Should we go... We're seeing a lot of other cars go. Don't really want to take advantage over the AI, but I don't want to get stuck in traffic. We'll come out behind one of the Renaults. So if we get Vettel out, obviously got to change the tyre and we're stuck with a Mercedes. I thought everyone would come out then. But Van Dorn is on his fast lap at the moment. We need him to improve. Hulkenberg is currently sat in pole position, followed by his teammate Charles Leclerc. Leclerc has won all 3 races so far this season. Magnussen up there again in this Williams. This Williams really good at qualifying, or at least Magnussen can get a lot out of this car. So Van Dorn, it looks like he is going to improve up to 9th. An outstanding lap for him, which bodes well for Vettel. Can Vettel improve on his lap? We're seeing Verstappen currently. Verstappen down in 13th in the Mercedes at the moment. We should have watched Vettel come across the line. Where is Vettel? Or is Vettel just going on to his fast lap? Yes, he is. So Verstappen is currently out on track. We'll stick with Verstappen here. See what he can do. He's currently 13th. Under pressure from a McLaren. Verstappen goes across the line. Improves to 8th place. That's not much ahead of Stoffel Van Dorn here, as Vettel is going pretty quick. Obviously this gearbox has made quite the improvement to our car. We're currently trailing a Mercedes here. Which Mercedes? That's Hamilton going across the line. Hamilton goes into 3rd. Vettel doesn't improve. What happened to Vettel? A shocker of a last sector there, and Van Dorn actually out-qualifies Vettel here, so that is disappointing. 14th. I thought we would be a little bit higher than that, but obviously just not there. Not there, the pace. Just not there with Vettel over that last sector. Right, so we're about to jump into the race. I think I'm going to take the hard tyre performance increase now. It's a little bit hard. We're possibly going to spend a little bit more time on the hard tyres, but it's going to be a little bit of a tough one. There is 57 laps here. Since we're outside the top 10, I can choose not to start on the softs. If maybe we go medium, try get through 21 laps. And then that would be 30. That's 51. So that even a 2-stop, we are going to have to do hard at some point. So we're possibly going to start with the softs with Van Dorn. See what he can get out of a soft tyre. Then go hard to maybe finish if that is the case. Or a medium hard. Use one kind of each tyre to try and get through to the end of the race. With Vettel, he's a little bit smoother. You can get an extra lap out of these softs. He can do 32. Even that's 52, so it's going to be one of each tyre. But maybe if we switch around a bit, go a little bit longer on the first stint with Vettel, since he's behind Van Dorn, we'll try switch up a little bit with Vettel. And we'll take the... It's going to have to be the hard tyre bonus, whereas we want Stoffel Van Dorn to get a good start, so we'll give him the soft tyre bonus. And we're just going to go high and high, and then obviously once the race starts, we'll try switch that up a bit. It is a random roll at the start of the race to see who gets the better start. This doesn't really make a difference to how the race starts, but anyway, let's go down the grid order. At the front of the grid, we've got the 2 prancing horses of Charles Leclerc and Nico Hulkenberg on the front row of the grid, then followed by Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes. Kevin Magnussen once again. Absolutely outstanding qualifying session from him. That Rocket Williams, I don't know what it is about his car, but 4th place for Kevin Magnussen. Fernando Alonso in the Red Bull 5th. Carlos Sainz in the McLaren 6th place, followed by his teammate Lando Norris in 7th. Daniel Ricciardo 1st. Renault on the grid 8th place. I don't know what is up with this Renault team. They can't seem quite to get it together once it comes to race weekend. It's a really strong car. And then we see Esteban Ocon just behind in 9th, and Max Verstappen a long way down the grid in 10th place. Joseph Newgarden in the Haas is 11th. Stoffel Van Dorn is 12th. For us, Alexander Albon in that 2nd Red Bull, only 13th. And Vettel disappointingly in 14th for us. George Russell in the Aston Martin 15th. An improvement here. Pretty good qualifying session for Mick Schumacher in the Prema. Vips, that is pretty good considering the condition of the AlphaTauri. 17th for Yuri Vips. Sergio Perez is 17th in the Haas. Gasly in the AlphaTauri 19th. Stroll 20th in the Aston Martin. Bottas 21st in the Alpha, followed by his teammate in 22nd, Antonio Giovinazzi. And then on the back row of the grid, we've got the other Williams. Look at that. That's almost a second difference between Latifi and Magnussen. They're not far apart as in terms of ratings, but does Magnussen have the timesheet hero? Does he get a boost for qualifying? Even so, in that Williams, he shouldn't be out qualifying most of the other people. And we've got Robert Schwartzman in the 2nd Prema, rounding out the grid here. Just make sure that we've got no rain tricking us like we did in China last time out. Never know which way to look for the start, but Vettel is slow off the mark here. Van Dorn looks to be slow off the mark as well. Not the best start, although Van Dorn does get a second boost as we head down this straight. Obviously, our engine is not the best, and who is that? That's one of the Red Bulls running way wide. Is that Alonso again? He ran wide in the first race, I think, when he started on pole and went down the order. He's run wide this time, all the way down to 24th. Puts Van Dorn back up into 12th, who is in a lot of traffic here. He's got an Aston Martin of Russell and the McLaren of Sainz in front of him. Have we got a run here? We're just going to push. What is the temperature? The temperature is not too high, so it's not going to be a major issue looking after the tyres. We should have a lot of tyre wear left as well. We do have the option of going for 2 sets of hards on both of these cars if we would rather take that risk and push a little bit more. But Van Dorn is off to an absolute stormer of a start here. We're just ignoring Vettel, who's down in 19th place at the moment. Maybe if we switch him up as well. But Van Dorn doing brilliantly, getting himself up into 7th place, and we'll just wait for this race to cool down a little bit, our race here, before we look at the front of the order. Although, no, we'll have a look, because look at that. Lando Norris has stormed into the lead in this Mercedes-powered McLaren. The McLaren boys doing a little bit better than the actual Mercedes team themselves. Norris just almost a 2-second gap. Obviously, Leclerc, one of the best drivers in the game, the best car in the game at the moment. He's going to have he's going to be able to do a little bit more with that car, as Van Dorn is pressuring Kevin Magnussen here. We should have more power than that Williams, as there's a lot of sort of straights, not very many turns around this track. How many is this? That sort of costs us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, possibly 8 corners it's classed as. But Van Dorn doing excellent here, up into 5th place, and we'll just back off with him. Vettel had slipped down to 19th. He's currently behind Esteban Ocon, who's dropped down as well from his 11th place start. Vettel going around the outside of Esteban Ocon here. Can he make this move stick? He does. We're just going to keep pushing here on this medium tyre. Obviously, Vettel on a slower tyre than those around him, although Newgarden's on the same tyre in front in the Haas. Stroll does have the same Aston Martin, but most of the cars up in front are on a softer tyre, so if we can get past the Haas and the Aston Martin, we're sort of sitting pretty there, although we're going to come under pressure from that Renault. It's got immense power in that engine, does that Renault. Can Ocon get everything out of it down this sort of semi-straight here? But he can't. We managed to get past not George Russell, it's George Russell in the other. And Russell has slipped down in the Aston Martin behind his teammate, so that's why he's a little bit further down. Van Dorn is currently 5th, just sort of running pleasantly by himself. He's got a Ferrari in front of him, about 1.5 seconds in front of it, so 1.5 seconds back to the McLaren of Sainz. So we'll just stick with Vettel here, who is in 11th place. Have we managed to get past anyone else? No, just in front of Ocon still. There is a group in front of us of Ricciardo, Alonso and Magnussen. So Magnussen, even though he can qualify well, this Williams just doesn't have the race pace at all, and he's sort of lost positions to everyone there, including us, down 1 straight. And we're just going to keep in high mode. These medium tyres are overheating, but we sort of want to complete this move on this Williams, and then we can sort of try to cool these tyres back down. Oh, and we managed to catch out Fernando Alonso there, who's shot back up at the grid as Fernando Alonso after falling into 24th place, but that looked like another mistake from Alonso there, which has allowed Vettel to get past. We sort of want to cool these tyres down because we don't want to shred them too quickly. Is there any sort of reason to fight with the Red Bull around this track? Maybe the Red Bull doesn't suit this circuit too much, as Alexander Albon on the hards is running 16th. This hard tyre not working at all around here, as Alonso loses a place to Ocon in that Renault. Obviously Alonso familiar with that colour, that livery of Renault, and that is Alonso locking up as well. Alonso making mistakes all over the place here, as Van Dorn, we're slowly losing time to the Ferrari in front, although we're holding that gap to Carlos Sainz pretty handily, so we can possibly start recovering a little bit of fuel from this point forward. And we're still trying to cool down a little bit. We're not really battling with Alonso. If he wants to get past us, he can do. I want to get these tyres cooled rather than holding this 9th position. Obviously, we're going a lot longer than Alonso. If we can keep in front of him, this soft tyre is going to go off a lot earlier than this medium tyre. Well, maybe we will just switch back. We've used a lot of fuel with Vettel though, trying to get into this position, so we do sort of have to concede the position. I don't want to push too much against Alonso. He's on a quicker tyre. He should get past us, but hopefully we can sort of get back at the Red Bulls towards the end of this race. So we switch back to Van Dorn for a brief look. Everything's going well, but if we just look now, Lando Norris is under pressure at the moment. from Charles Leclerc. He's holding on to this first place really well. He's got 2 Ferraris behind him, and splitting the Ferraris is the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton. This is possibly playing into the hands of Lando Norris. I don't think he's going to be able to keep this. As we see, Norris has gone through these soft tyres, obviously been pushing to keep this first place. He's used a lot more tyre, about 10% more of this tyre, so he's going to have to get in early, and he's going to come out into traffic, a lot of traffic of cars on hard tyres. Unless he can go a few more laps and try to get these to about 20 seconds, then he's going to be in a position where he can maybe think about holding on to this. As it is, he's not going to be able to do that. We've got both cars in a little bit of clear air, so we're just going to speed up time a little bit. Oh, and we shredded soft tyres even more, haven't we? Because we were pushing. So we're going to have to start thinking about getting Van Dorn in. I think these can go to 10% before we need to start thinking, before they'll drop off a cliff. We've still got a little bit of time to go on them. So I was just saying about Lando Norris coming into the pits into a lot of traffic. We would come out 16th. Is it a shorter pit stop here? Yes, because we cut out part of the final corner. So maybe we're only losing about 15 seconds through the pits to get out. We're not even losing that. It says we're going to come out in 16th, which is a loss. No, Van Dorn is 7, which is a loss of about 10-12 seconds for a pit stop. So should we push this lap and see what we can get out? We're going to see Ricciardo here who's come in. Where is Ricciardo going to come out? He was behind Van Dorn. He gets out in the 20th, so maybe it's not as the computer's saying. So we're going to have to get in this lap, aren't we? So let's push. 45 laps. We're going to have to see what we can get out of a hard tyre. Just see what we can get out of a hard tyre to get further on. Ricciardo's gone for another set of softs. We're going to see what we can get out of a hard, and then we can decide what we're going to do further on in the race. If we're going to do a 2-stop, maybe when we do get out into 17th, which is behind Schumacher on a hard tyre. There's a little bit of a gap there. We're not going to push too much here. Maybe just go in high mode for a lap or two, see if we can catch up to Schumacher, and then maybe get past him on track. Meanwhile, we've got Vettel running in 6th. We're still keeping pace with Fernando Alonso, and we've got Fernando Alonso is coming to the pits. These tyres not going as far as I thought they would. 21 laps it said they would do. Obviously, we were pushing in the early going. The mediums can go to about 5% before we have to get into the pits to start thinking about changing them. So, yeah, we should be able to stretch to the 21. Alonso is in the pits. Alonso is going to come out in traffic on a pair of mediums like we're on. Obviously, our mediums a lot more worn than that way it is. Alonso going to come out of the pits. Alonso comes out behind Van Dorn, which we were sort of expecting, but he comes out in a lot of traffic, which is going to bode well here for Vettel. Should we get Vettel in and try to get the undercut? No, try to get better overcut. Overcut. What am I saying? Or should we try to go as long as we can, just to make sure we can use a pair of softs for Vettel, as the soft tyre does seem pretty quick around here. Everyone else is pitted further up the order, which means we're about to go into 2nd behind Verstappen. Verstappen on the same sort of strategy that we're on at the moment, with followed by Lando Norris, who's got in and out in front of Leclerc. He's got quite a gap there as well. So we're under pressure here. We're actually slowing Lando Norris down. I don't really want to do that. I want to sort of let Lando Norris go. But yeah, we're going to have to go into medium as well. We've used a hell of a lot of fuel up with Vettel. Try to push him ahead. In the meantime, we're not losing too much pace over what we're doing. Obviously, we can't do what we're doing at the moment against Lando and Norris. Van Dorn is under pressure from Daniel Ricciardo at the moment. That Fury Vips in front. Don't really want to use too much of this tyre. We do need to clear Vips, and that is Ricciardo. Typical Ricciardo move. Dive bombs straight through the middle with 2 cars. And he's going to get... No, he's not. I thought he was going to get Stroll on the next corner as well. So whilst we're now behind Ricciardo, we can start sort of conserving a little bit. And maybe we'll start thinking about getting Vettel into the pits. We'll push just for 1 lap. Make sure we can try to get out 16 laps. We can get off that soft tyre. If we do 26 on this, that is going to put us in good stead when the track is fully gripped in, fully rubbered in towards the end of the race. We'll go hard, and then we can get onto a softs for Vettel's last stint of the race. So let's push and get in off this medium. We're only going to lose time to Hamilton if we stay out again. Possibly battle with Hamilton. We've lost a little bit of time, possibly battling with these cars. Can we get out ahead of Fernando Alonso, who is currently 11th? He's caught right up to Stoffel Van Dorn here. Obviously, he's on a quicker tyre. His hard tyre seemingly not working at all here, as we see one of the Aston Martins diving into the pits. We're just going to let We're going to push down the straight with Van Dorn for a little bit. Try and keep him ahead of Alonso here. And Vettel. We've lost so much time going long there. We've come out of the pits in 17th place. I'm guessing we lost quite a lot of time. Maybe the medium, a fresh medium is a lot better than a medium that's starting to go off. Not totally gone off. It's not down there. And Vettel is locked up as well on that hard tyre, which we don't want. But we managed to get past the Prema. We're going to turn down. We do sort of really need to start recovering a little bit of fuel with Vettel. We don't have much room with him, but Van Dorn is having an absolutely outstanding race here. He's under pressure from a Red Bull, the Mercedes of Max Verstappen on a fresh medium tyre there as well. How much have we got out of this? 7. We've got 7 laps out of this hard tyre so far. We've gone through about a third of the tyre. Obviously these hards can go all the way down to 0, but this hard is not racy at all. We're getting passed by Ocon on a pair of softs. Maybe a lot of these cars that have gone for a double soft in the early going, they're doing 3 stops, which might come back towards us in the end of the race. As it is, we sort of need to make this hard last, because I don't really want to go onto another hard tyre at all, because it is just not working here, the hard tyre. Although, is it working for Vettel? Because Vettel's starting to catch up. Maybe just Van Dorn doesn't have the grip of these hard tyres. We get one of the AlphaTauris. That is Gasly heading to the pits, which bodes well for us. We now get released into a bit of clear air for Sebastian Vettel. We get out ahead of Alexander Albon in the Red Bull. Puts Vettel back up into a position where he could be fighting for points come the end of the race. Van Dorn is up there with points at the moment. He's got the McLaren of Carlos Sainz behind him. He's going through another soft tyre here. It's Carlos Sainz. Obviously the McLaren going for a 3-stopper here. Hopefully a 2-stopper is going to work out for us. Maybe a 3-stopper would work in future. Maybe that is something to think about. Maybe the way this game is set up, the harder compound tyre is just a slow tyre. What are we doing at the moment? A 107.9. What is a McLaren doing? A 106, about a second quicker on a used pair of softs at the moment. Is that McLaren? Is there anyone around us doing about? Who else is on a soft that is in a car comparable? Yeah, it's just the soft tyre here is a lot quicker than this hard tyre. So that is maybe something to think about when we come back to Russia. Obviously, the next time we come back to Russia later on in the season, we do cut out this bit of the track. Instead of it being this little bit of straight, there is a longer lap where we do this loop up here. Yeah, so that's maybe something to think about next time. We do have room to push with Van Dorn at the moment. We don't have much room to push with Vettel, though. He's up into 11th place, although Alexander Albon, look at that. The speed of that Red Bull. But Vettel doing well to hold on here. We haven't used the chase camera too much here. Maybe we'll use the chase camera for a little bit. Under pressure from Esteban Ocon. Not Esteban Ocon. What? That's Alexander Albon right behind him. Esteban Ocon's in the Renault. Holding on as we get a nice little look through the chain link fence there. And there it is. Alexander Albon as we got to the straight. I thought he would do as we got to the straight again. Albon released. It doesn't look like points are going to be on the order here for Vettel. Although, if we can get a second points scoring race of the season for Stoffel Van Dorn, that would be absolutely magnificent. And there we see Sainz is behind. He's starting to drop off on these soft tyres. Can't keep pace. He's going to get into the pits this time around. And we're going what we used. We've used about half of the tyre. We've done 13 laps. So it doesn't look like we're going to get close to about 25 laps. If we can get another 12 out of this, 18 laps, could we get onto a medium? What did we get out of a medium for Sebastian Vettel? Did we get the 18? We got 20 out of it. Obviously, Vettel is a little bit smoother. If we can get 20 and get Van Dorn onto a medium to finish this race, or if we can get a little bit more out of this hard tyre, it's going to cool down. I don't want to push it because I do want to not use another set of hards to finish this race. And Vettel has moved back up into 11th place because, as we saw, Carlos Sainz did pit. Norris has pitted again as well. So the 3-stop strategy that McLaren went for doesn't seem to be working. It kept him out in front in that they were able to push. And that's who is that coming into the pits? That is Esteban Ocon into the pits now as well. And it looks like they're doing a 3-stop in the Renault. But Norris, who was leading for half the race, has fallen down the order a little bit here. He's sort of out of sequence. Yeah, I think Leclerc is going to be able to get back out in front of him. It looks like that is going to be what happens here. Leclerc could be on for his 4th win of the season. We have a Renault in front of Daniel Ricciardo. Van Dorn is in clear areas. He's, yeah, about 3.5 seconds either side of him. Back to Joseph Newgarden up in the points. Obviously, he's got to come in pretty soon as well. He could possibly get to the end of the race if he goes for a hard tyre. Norris has gone soft, soft, soft. So Norris does have to pit again. Obviously, we know that. Is he going to go for another soft tyre? Is the McLaren team going all softs for this race? It's a little bit of a cheating way of doing it. Obviously, I don't do that myself. I've got to use at least 2 different tyre compounds throughout a race. Obviously, the AI doesn't have to do that if they don't want to. But yeah, what is Vettel doing? A little bit of clear air either side here. So if we go down, Leclerc is out in front at the moment on a medium tyre. Hamilton going a little bit longer on the second stint. He's on a hard tyre, so maybe they're going to swap back around, although I think Leclerc's going to be getting for a soft. Hamilton's definitely going to be getting into a soft. Can he come back later on in the race? Hulkenberg is in 3rd place. He's gone soft, has he? Yes, he has. And Verstappen's gone medium, but has done remarkably well. I think he started 13th on the grid. He's managed to get himself back up into 4th place. Whereas we see Newgarden pit, which moves Vettel up into the points. Is this somewhere where we're sort of going to do? We don't know where we're going to be once we start filtering out through the pits. If we manage to get Vettel through another 12 laps, it should be good enough to go on to the softs to the end of the race, which is the hope with Vettel. Obviously things are starting to cool off on this tyre. It's getting a little bit too close to being totally cooled off. Maybe we're going to have to push a little bit, get some heat into these tyres, because we're possibly just losing time here. Try to make these tyres go as long as they can so we can execute our strategy of this 2-stop is what we're aiming for. Maybe that's what the AI knows a little bit better than us. Maybe push the tyres, keep them in optimal temperature. Since we're not losing too much through the pits, I didn't actually time what it was to go through the pits. Obviously, it does think it is 17th would be in front of Gasly. At 25 seconds it's saying now. Wasn't saying that before, so maybe it is. Maybe it is a 25-second pit stop. Maybe. There or thereabouts. We're going to have to start thinking about getting Van Dorn in sometime soon, but obviously we want to go at least a couple more laps. I don't really want to go onto another hard tyre. This hard tyre doing a 106.5? No. 106? No, at this point, once the hard tyre, maybe. I think when the other tyres are soft and medium are sort of within their initial optimum range of grip, they're a lot quicker. But as things start to bed in, this hard tyre sort of holds its own from that point forward. We're not going to push here. We want to get maybe 2 more laps out of this tyre. If we can do that, that would be absolutely brilliant if we can get another 2 laps out of Van Dorn. Obviously, he's under pressure from Nico Hulkenberg, who's gone for another pair of softs. He's going to have to pit again. So if we can keep him behind, obviously Hulkenberg, once we come into the pits, he's going to get released. We're at 10%. Can we go around 2 more times? That would be absolutely perfect if we could go around again. Yes, we are. We're going to get to go around again. Absolutely perfect. So we're going to get in for this medium tyre on this lap. We think we've got a little bit of room to push into the pits as well. We've got some room with the fuel to push into the pits, so hopefully we can get that done. Meanwhile, Vettel, we got a little bit of heat back into the tyre. Currently behind Ocon in a Renault. So things are looking good here. Obviously, everything still has to filter through the pits as we go along. We're getting away from that Ferrari. And there we go. Van Dorn dives into the pits. Hopefully, we're going to come out in a little bit clear air. Can we clear 10th and 11th? No. Yes, we can. Clear air. Absolutely perfect there. We don't want to push too much in the early going here. But absolutely perfect. Out into clear air. And Vettel has now recovered this fuel so we can get pushing with him. We do want to go to about 14 laps to go to make sure we've got a little bit of room to push on this soft tyre towards the end of the race. So here we go, 18 laps remaining. It is Hamilton in the lead. Leclerc has pitted. He's on a medium tyre. It looks like he's on for the win during this race. It's going to be a monumental effort from Hamilton to get back into for a pair of soft tyres. It looks like he might be able to get to that point, although his tyres are wearing... No, he's in early on that hard tyre, but he has gone soft. Obviously, the Mercedes is a little bit better on its tyre wear than us, so they possibly can get that soft through to the end of the race. But Hamilton is out into 2nd place. Can Hamilton make up this 9-second gap here? As Vettel is currently 8th. Van Dorn is behind him. A lot of clear air for him. Van Dorn is just trundling along here. He's waiting for other cars to come into the pits. Obviously, Hulkenberg, Alonso do have to pit. Verstappen has to pit. Ooh, it could be a good race here for Van Dorn. He's catching up to Vettel, who does need to pit again. Where is Vettel going to come out of the pits? Vettel's going to be way down the order here. Obviously, a lot of cars around this sort of area do have to pit again. So should we get into push mode, or should we just try 16 laps remain? No, we want to go around at least 2-3 more times if we can do. That would be optimal for us. If we can get around a few more times and get onto a soft tyre, gives us a good standing chance of getting Vettel back up the order. Hopefully he's going to be a little bit quicker than some of the other cars that are coming in, but I don't think that's going to be possible. Have we got it in this car to get around another lap? We do, as Vettel is now just holding up Stoffel Van Dorn. We're going to allow him to let Van Dorn through at this point. The engine's starting to go off, but I think we can get it through to the end of the race. So there goes Van Dorn. Van Dorn goes through, and we'll get back to racing here. Obviously, he won't like that Vettel at all, but he's been beaten handily by his teammate in this race. Van Dorn having an absolutely outstanding race. And this tyre, 4%, it's not going off at this point. And into the pits and out. Where are we going to filter back out? Obviously, we're going to get back out into 12th place. Are we? Yes, we are. There's a lot of gap to make up, although Newgarden does have to pit again. Alonso does have to pit again, it looks like. So it could be pretty handy towards the end of the race here. And we're going to have to start recovering. With Van Dorn here, he's in quite a bit of clear air. He's up into 7th place. Alonso does have to pit. We're going to be able to get that point back there. Hulkenberg does have to pit. It's going to be close. Whether we're not really going to push to beat the Ferrari, it might be a little bit pointless. We just sort of want to recover fuel at this point. Obviously, this medium tyre is getting a little bit hot. Has the temperature increased? No, we're just getting hot on this tyre. We're just going to cool it down for a few laps anyway, because we do need to make sure that that can get through to the end of the race. We've used about 35%, doing 7 laps. It should just about get there if we look after it. Meanwhile, Vettel is currently 12th place. We do have Ocon in front. Newgarden does have to pit, so it is Ocon we need to catch if we need points. Or at least a point for Sebastian Vettel, get his first point of the season. I don't think we're going to be quicker. He's on a owned soft tyre, but it's possibly operating in the... And that's Newgarden into pit. So we do move up into 11th. We are about 4 tenths quicker than Esteban Ocon at the moment, although he's recovering fuel. Should we take an opportunity? What can we get out of this soft tyre? 13 laps. We do have a little bit of room to push, although it will mean we need to cool the tyre down. So let's try it up. And that is Hulkenberg in the pits. Now, Hulkenberg is in the pits. And out. So there is Alonso, Hulkenberg in the pit. So Van Dorn goes through. It doesn't look like Vettel's going to get too close to either of those. Going to be coming down, no. So still 11th place here for Vettel. So Alonso comes back out into 9th behind his teammate of Alexander Albon. Leclerc is out in front. Norris up into 4th. He's on a hard tyre now. They must have run out of soft tyres maybe. The McLaren for the end of the race, I don't know why they just didn't use it hard. Go soft, hard, soft. Like the Mercedes has done. Maybe Lando Norris could have kept that win if they'd have done that. But Vettel is improving on his times at the moment. We try to recover fuel at the moment. These tyres cooling down with Van Dorn. Obviously, he's not in trouble at the moment. Obviously, Hulkenberg is on a lot quicker tyre than him. Let's just get back to normal here. I don't think we have much chance of fighting off that Ferrari if it does come down to it towards the end of the race. And we're about 3 seconds behind the Renault. We might as well just push all out because we're not going to get points anyway. I don't think anyone else has to pit higher up the order. It's just whether we can catch a Renault. Obviously, that Renault car is a beast. But Renault just can't put it together. Currently 7th, 10th. Ricciardo is 7th. Ocon's 10th. Alonso sets the quickest lap of the race here on lap 51. He's on a pretty new pair of soft tyres. It's going to get to a point we're sort of outside the optimal range at the moment. We're just going to have to maybe back off for a little bit and push to finish the race. Maybe if we just go all out for the last 3 laps, try to see how close we can get up to that point. Meanwhile, it's all just about recovering. For Stoffel Van Dorn here, 6th place. Hulkenberg has gone past him already, opened that 3-second gap as I thought. No chance of holding him up here. Ricciardo is about a second quicker than us. Obviously in that massive pack. Look at Alonso doing a 103.9 on that soft tyre. Hulkenberg a 103.6. A really quick times up here from these cars that have managed to get back out on the softs to finish the race. Vettel is doing a 104.8. We're not pushing as much as they are at the moment. Just recovering. And we're going to have a shot at it towards the end of the race. Although we don't really have the fuel to give it a massive shot. But it's all about keeping Van Dorn in front of Ricciardo here for a 6th place. And if we can get that, that would be a 5th and a 6th place for Van Dorn this season. Would be absolutely amazing if we can get that through. 11th place, 1.7 now behind behind Esteban Ocon. It is starting to push again a little bit, but we are quicker than him at the moment as we come across the line. What are they doing at the moment? 6. That is Alonso behind now, though. That is Alonso behind Van Dorn. Are we going to be able to hold off? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to be able to do that, but that is a 105.4. So we are still quicker than the Renault here. Is this at a point now where we can get pushing with this soft tyre? We're going to have to give it. We're going to have to give it everything. Let Vettel just open up here. We don't have the fuel or the tyre quite left with Stoffel, but maybe we do have some room to give him push mode. But here we go. We're going to try chase down Esteban Ocon here. We've got close really quickly. If we can make this move, we're up into 10th for someone pit. Daniel Ricciardo's pit. So we're up into 10th. We've got ahead of a Renault and we're about to get past another Renault here. There we go, past the Renault. High. Just try to keep this place. We're past the Renault. Amazing. And this medium tyre for Alexander Albon's about to go off as well, although it should see him through to the end of the race. We're about to enter the final lap, which I think Charles Leclerc is on the final lap on a warm pair of mediums. Yes, he is. So if we can keep this, this will be an outstanding race. If we can just keep ahead here, maybe since we're about onto the final lap, we can go overtake mode. And Van Dorn, meanwhile, is holding off Alonso. We can do the same with him. We're on the final lap. Can we hold off Fernando Alonso here on the final lap? Try to get his camera. Alonso getting close. Alonso is close. No, we open up that gap. Coming down around one bend. We've got one final corner to go. That is an AlphaTauri slowing down. I think they must have finished the race already since they must have been lapped. And there we go. Van Dorn across the line. 6th place. Amazing. And then we say, no, we've lost Vettel. We've lost Vettel. Has Vettel finished yet? Vettel finishes 9th place. Outstanding finish to the race with him. Managed to outpace that Renault. Renault finishing 10th and 11th. Not a good job for them. Magnussen in 12th. After starting high up the order again in that Williams miss out on points again. But Charles Leclerc, his 4th win of the season, followed by 2 Mercedes. And Norris holds on for 4th, a really good result for him there in that McLaren. Hulkenberg 5th in the Ferrari. Then we've got Van Dorn. Outstanding drive from him once again. Seems to have paid off, putting him in the car instead of Pascal Wehrlein. Fernando Alonso in the Red Bull, followed by his teammate Alexander Albon. Sebastian Vettel for us, scoring double points for the first time this season. Outstanding. Although you would have expected that to be the other way around, but outstanding from Van Dorn. A really good finish to the race from Vettel after disappointing early on. And then we have the Renault of Esteban Ocon rounding out the points here, scoring a solitary point for the Renault cars. As Renault lose more distance to McLaren. Absolute shocker. As we see, Leclerc's won 4 races this season. He's already 52 points clear of Lewis Hamilton. Hulkenberg is behind at the moment. Then we've got Max Verstappen, disappointing, being beaten out by Lewis. So maybe Lewis is going to consider staying in this Mercedes seat next season. Obviously, he's feeling a little bit miffed that Mercedes went for a direct competitor. Obviously, seeing him as Hamilton's long-term replacement. Alonso is 5th in that Red Bull. It's a little bit disappointing for Red Bull this season as well. They're performing a little bit disappointingly. Obviously, the Red Bull and the Renault a lot quicker than the Mercedes, but obviously Hamilton and Max getting a lot more out of that car. Norris is 6th, his teammates 8th, Albon 7th, and then Van Dorn has scored 18 points this season, and Vettel 2 points. So, yeah, the first race. So it's 2 10th place finish. No, it isn't. He finished outside 14th. He finished 9th in this race, did Vettel. That's 2 points for him. So as we move on to the constructors, Ferrari 59 points ahead, Mercedes, Red Bull, then McLaren opened up a 20-point gap over Renault, and then there's a 10-point gap back to us. Haas, Aston Martin have scored points, then Williams still without a point as Alfa Prema, and Scuderia Alfa Tauri. Yeah, a really good race, all being said. I think Stoffel Van Dorn has improved. Yeah, his morale improved. It dropped after the last race, after he had a good race. I think after the time he finished 5th, he had his morale dropped. I think it's just because he doesn't want to be a reserve driver. Super soft tyres. We've unlocked the first level with Andrea Stella, which is good for us. We came 4th overall. We're expected to come 8th overall, losing another cool almost 1.3 million. And just a quick skip over that. That was Louis Delatras winning the race there. F2 and F3 aren't finished in this mod. We just skip past it because, as I said, it doesn't make much sense F2 in this game. I think Kimi Raikkonen's currently in there at the moment just so he's held back in case I want to move him up. But yeah, that is it. An excellent drive there. We're not going to have our gearbox done. Obviously, the other cars, although we've managed to improve our gearbox now in working it in the garage, we've managed to improve it all the way to the top, so that's possibly why we're a little bit better at the moment. We've still got a lot of work to do on the engine. Rear wing's not there, suspension needs work. Are we going to be able to improve enough to start scoring points on a regular basis? I don't think we're going to get near the podiums unless we get lucky this season. So yeah, absolutely outstanding result really, considering the disappointment of the last race. Charles Leclerc demolished the competition last race. Just say that. It's going to make our chairman happy. So yeah, we're going to go through, should we just see, is there anyone decent here? Yep. Oh, he's pretty good on the rear jack. That should be a 20 if we hire him. So I'm going to go through that and sort that out. But anyway, as it is, pretty good race considering the disappointment of the last race. We've got a gearbox to come, but that won't be done until the race after Portugal. So we're not going to see much improvement of our cars. The AI possibly going to improve their car more than we are, so we might drop down the order a little bit. Sort of a swap around as the season goes on to which car's doing better than the others, which track suits which car. Exciting season so far, other than Leclerc winning all the races. But anyway, that is it for this episode, this race, this round. But until next time, I'll see you down the road in Tondela for the Portuguese Grand Prix. But until that time, goodbye.